from the News Channel 5 Network. This is OpenLine.
Well, good evening and welcome into Open Line. Chuck Long here with you for the next hour, and delighted to be here for the next hour. One of our very favorites is with us this evening. That's Kevin Kennedy from the Kennedy Law Firm. And you know when Kevin's here, you can ask any of those legal questions that you have, but the advice is to get on the line as soon as possible so that we can get to as many calls as possible. So we welcome in Mr. Kevin Kennedy from the Kennedy Law Firm.
There we are, Bumpin'. We're ready to go tonight.
We are fired up and ready.
It has been a beautiful night in Nashville, Tennessee, and can't wait to share it. Believe it or not, Chuck, I got to confess, and I'm not used to confess. Tonight is my anniversary, and I'm spending it at the TV show.
What does your wife think about that?
Well, she's going to watch me. I hope she enjoys the show.
Okay, well, let's make sure we send some special attention out to her this evening.
Hello, come in.
So I was looking over some of the things that we've been talking about the last few times that you've been here. Such a wide range of topics: criminal law, personal injury, car wreck injury, job injury, family law, bankruptcy, estates, wills, nursing home care, lost job, going up against the insurance company or hospital. As you can see, a whole range of topics, and every time people call in about these, it also helps other people because you get such great advice.
Well, what you just went through, that litany list right there, I'll tell you, before the next 2 weeks, we'll see somebody in there with one of those problems. And so they say, well, there's somebody in room 1, somebody in room 2. Well, guess what? They just went through the same thing you just spoke about. And it still never ceases to amaze me on how complicated our life is. I was talking to a group of lawyers, and we were saying, you know, they really need to put this in the school curriculum because everybody holds you accountable that you have to know. And one of the first lessons is, hey, ignorance of the law is what? No excuse. And so how are we supposed to act when we don't even know? So I love this part of the program. I love to share, and it's been good. Chuck and I've worked for a long time, and he's got the magic formula. It really gets down. He cares about people. And so here we are. If you've got a little something that's worrying you or about, call in. We'd love to take that off of you. And for those who watch, it's been my experience, your children's not going to be prepared for this. Your grandchildren will. So you be the person, take some notes, and protect your family. That's a good word of wisdom for this evening.
Absolutely. And you know, one of the things that I've learned, Kevin, you were mentioning that we've been doing this for years together. Always enjoy it, but the thing that I've learned the most is to listen.
To listen.
I have learned so much sitting next to you. I feel like I've gotten my, I've told you this before, the University of Kevin Kennedy.
I might even give the degree and sign that degree. And they say, what? Yeah, he went to the University of Kevin. And on a good day, it's pretty valuable. I do believe that too. But I always want to ponder. Quite frankly, this show has made me a better, even though we know the magic formula is knowing and then doing. Am I following the advice we're learning? And because everybody wants to let your guard down, but listen to Kevin Kennedy, don't let your guard down. Teach your family. We're always in a protective mode.
There you go. If you do want to get in and ask a question, make sure you call that number that's there on the bottom of your screen. It's 737-7587. Get online, get those questions. If you've been wondering, maybe it's for you, maybe it's for a family member, but you just need that great legal advice, this is the place to do it. So we're going to go to the lines right now. Evan is on the line with us. Evan, good evening. And do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Yes, I used to watch repossession shows for fire fields, and in some shows, if they repossess your car because you're behind on payments, they take the postal property, they put it aside, and when the owner comes for the property, they just have to pay a $50 administration fee. In other instances, if they're repossessing a food truck or a food trailer, they say legally speaking, they have to dispose of what's inside the food truck or the food trailer. So what does the law differentiate between property you can place a lien on and give back to the owner and property you have to dispose of? Because I'm in the salvage business myself. When people call me to remove abandoned property, which I turn around and sell because the owner can't be found. But what's the difference between salvageable property and property you have to throw away?
Okay, well, every scenario is a little different. In Tennessee, for instance, if you fell behind in your payments on your truck, the bank has a right to repossess it, and they have a right to get it without breaching the peace. So what does that mean? Can they find it, sneak right in there, hook to it, and take it? Yes. Can they hold it and say, if you're going to, you got to catch up on your payments, you got to pay us, and here we go. Number two, a lot of people think that they can take these cars and they, well, there's chips, so people know where those cars are all the time. So don't make any mistake there. Now, it's been a rule that when they repossess, one of the problems that you may face, if you parked a truck where it could be towed away, that's a different ballgame. They'll tow your car and they'll have a little sign up there and said, don't park here, and they take it. Well, then they usually don't have to take care of your refrigerated items. They take it, and that's up to you. So there's 2 or 3 different ways, and so you probably just need to talk to a lawyer about your specific instance.
All right, thanks so much for starting the show off with us, Evan. We're going to go right back to the lines right now with Teresa. Teresa, we're glad you're watching Open Line this evening. Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
I have a question.
Go right ahead, Teresa.
Okay, I'm in a situation where this lady had hit me at McDonald's, and she did not give me her name or her insurance or anything. So when I reported it to my insurance company, they said they couldn't find the lady because they don't know how. They don't have equipment to find this lady. What do I need to do? Because the lady didn't give me her name or insurance, and I'm stuck. This happened in March, and I'm still trying to find this lady. What do I need to do?
Well, you know, that the lesson from here is if you get involved with a fender bender, get your information there. Well, then we're just backtracking. You know, sometimes they have a video at the place, and you could perhaps catch a picture of the license plate and catch them from there. But otherwise, you're kind of a shooting in the dark trying to locate this person again. And your insurance, if you have full coverage insurance, then that's really the problem on the insurance company. You go and have your car repaired, you pay your deductible, and then they pursue it. If they don't have the information, they just may write it off as a loss.
And Kevin, another thing, just kind of on that same topic, if something like that happens, would a wise thing to do be get your camera out, get your phone out, start taking pictures and that kind of thing?
Yeah, Chuck is ready. Don't get in an accident with him. He'll have that phone. He'll have 2 phones. Get that photo of that license plate, and then try to have some conversation. You know, now we have to be so careful wherever you are when you have a little bump, because you know, anything can happen. So use your best judgment. And that phone always makes a difference, and you can call the police to come help. And so I always urge that. Get on the phone, take those pictures, document.
All right, thank you for calling, Teresa. All right, if you are just tuning in, you're watching Open Line. We are talking to the expert himself, Kevin Kennedy from the Kennedy Law Firm, answering your legal questions from A to Z. Let's go right back to the phones now. Marcia is on the line with us. Marcia, good evening. Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Yes, I've been dealing with a situation that I've been looking up the legal definition in Tennessee of what differentiates harassment from stalking, and I've been enduring this for about 2 years. I have called the police a couple instances just to have them have the information on file. And I've gathered what evidence I can, and a long time ago, for something completely different, I went down to night court, so I don't know if that's changed or how that procedure is, but since he does live in the same building, and we would frequent the same mailroom or whatever, you know, from time to time, what could I expect if I went down to night court, or if there's another way of handling it, and how realistic is it that they can enforce something, because you can't tell somebody to stay out of their own mailroom?
Well, you're doing pretty good. You've got a complicated situation, and I'll tell you my experience when we're dealing with a district attorney, and if I have a client, and I was just in court yesterday in Montgomery County regarding this. So if I'm advising my clients, I'd try to get the DA to give me a harassment warrant and a stalking warrant. They say sometimes, show me 3 instances. That car comes by, that person shows up, and if the DA will charge them, the question is, was there probable cause? And the question gets, can I prove beyond a reasonable doubt these are not coincidences? And so then, you know, each case has its own circumstances, and you build the case around that. So when you're living in the same place unless you get some real hard evidence. Remember, you always have a right to pursue an order of protection if you were in fear and if they were to say something. But those circumstances, you probably need some kind of act for them to really get a grip on. I know this. If we were in the middle of some, I'd tell Chuck, stay away. Don't even have the opportunity of a misunderstanding. Thank you for your question.
Absolutely. Rough situation there. We are glad that you called in, though, Marcia. We are going to take a short break. When we come back, more of your calls right here on Open Line.